So, look, I did what was, as I said, allowed. I said it wasn't the best choice, and it turned out to be a mistake in retrospect. But at the time, and given the facts that most of them were in the government systems, people are going to get a chance to see all kinds of behind-the-scenes conversations, most of which, I'm embarrassed to say, are kind of boring.
Hillary Clinton talking about the emails, and there may be more of them now. Bloomberg is reporting this, quote, the FBI has received and recovered personal and work-related emails from the private computer server used by Hillary Clinton during her time as Secretary of State, according to a person familiar with the investigation. The Bureau's probe is expected to last at least several more months, according to that person. The timeline would push any final determination closer to Democratic presidential primary calendar, which kicks off February 1st with the Iowa caucuses. This comes as Fox has some new polls out tonight. On the Democratic side, you can see Clinton at 44%, Bernie Sanders 30%, and Joe Biden, who's not in this race, you'll remember, at least not yet, at 18%. We'll start there, then talk about the Republicans. Let's bring in our panel. Steve Hayes, senior writer for the Weekly Standard, Amy Walter, national editor for the Cook Political Report, and editor-in-chief of LifeZette, Laura Ingraham. Okay, Steve, what about this development and the fact that the FBI may be populating new emails on this old server?
Well, and it is a development. I mean, there have been several developments in the Hillary email case, and I think this poll suggests that they're having a real effect on her. I mean, Joe Biden is up to 18%. He's not even in the race. He's actually getting numbers. Her numbers are coming down. They've been steadily coming down. We've known for a long time that people don't regard her as honest and trustworthy. But what struck me today was a tweet from Mark Halperin at Bloomberg, who's, driver of the conventional wisdom here in Washington, D.C., former political director at ABC News. And he tweeted this about Hillary Clinton. Still don't understand how state was silent for months in the face of one of Brooklyn's, meaning Hillary's campaign headquarters, most obvious lies re-request for HRC emails. It was an extraordinary tweet for a number of reasons. One, he's accusing the Clinton campaign of lying without really qualifying it. Secondly, he's saying it was just one of the most obvious lies, meaning there were many. Think about what that means for her campaign when you have people in Washington, D.C., people responsible for covering the campaign who are accusing her without even qualifying it of lying repeatedly. I think that's a big moment.
Well, there's only 140 characters.
140 characters.
Yeah,
he could have qualified it in subsequent tweets, but he didn't. But he didn't.
Amy.
This is the drip, drip, drip that's never going to stop dripping. And in fact, I think there are a lot of Democrats who are now sort of resigned to the fact that they're going to live with this low to high level of anxiety for the foreseeable future, maybe forever. There is some hope that the Benghazi hearings are going to determine, when she goes and testifies in front of the Benghazi committee, whether or not this is like truly fatal and there's still time for somebody else to get in, namely Joe Biden. This happens at the end of October. But if it's not, then this anxiety just sits there and becomes a pervasive problem.
Senator Chuck Grassley just put out this statement, Judicial Committee. The Justice Department is giving us less information than normal when they should be giving us more, so that we can make an informed decision about whether to seek an immunity order. You know, it's getting a little absurd when someone at the Justice Department is apparently leaking details to the press about an investigation that the department officially refuses to admit to Congress that it is conducting. In light of the details reported in the media, the committee will be seeking more information about the State Department's attempts to regain possession of the email records that should have remained at the State Department in the first place. The FBI should also provide clarity on how it will handle the emails now that they have been recovered from the server. Allowing an independent authority to search for records that were requested by Congress, the Inspector General, the press, the public years ago, and then providing the records to the appropriate requesters would be a welcome move in transparency. We don't usually read full statements, but that was quite an interesting one.
Grassley knows how these hearings work, and if they can grant immunity to a number of these witnesses, they're going to get a lot of information because they can't claim the fifth. They can't say, oh, no, I'm not going to incriminate myself. That's what he's getting at here. So right now, I think the drip, drip, drip could look like the death by 1,000 cuts because Biden seemed pretty buoyant out there with the Pope today. He was at the White House, of course, and he was at the Mass, front and center. If you're Joe Biden and you're watching this and you're watching these numbers, just the credibility numbers, as Steve said, have cratered. This is a really, really bad deal. And I think what we might find from these emails when they start releasing them, there could be a combination of emails, a private email, like it's about personal stuff, with a public implication, whether it's about the Clinton Foundation and, oh, I'll see you next week, next month at the State Department. We gave a donation to the Clinton Foundation, something like that, where it could be a combination, which led her to withhold the emails. That is something.
It is, and here's just another, briefly before we move to Republicans. You wonder, too, what Hillary Clinton's lawyers are telling her now. I mean, look at where this investigation is going. I think it's entirely possible, maybe even likely, that her lawyers say to her, you can go testify on October 22nd about Benghazi, but you can't talk about these emails and try to separate the two issues. I don't think that will be met with a positive response from the Benghazi committee.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let me turn quickly, because I'm running out of time on this panel. I want to turn to the Republicans and the new Fox poll out tonight. Donald Trump picking up 1 point in this new poll, continuing to dominate in this poll, 26%. Ben Carson still holding steady in second, and Carly Fiorina and Marco Rubio seeing a bump from where they were before. There you see the rest. Interesting other poll question. Do you feel betrayed by politicians from your political party? If we could put up that graphic, primary voters, and look at the GOP side, 62%. I mean, Laura, that is an indication perhaps why these outsiders are doing so well.
You want to know why Trump, Fiorina, and Carson still are doing well in these polls? That 62% number is devastating. We heard Marco Rubio last night, I think, with you, and he was talking about, look, we need 67 votes in the Senate, but then we need the presidency. I think a lot of Republicans are looking at that going, look, we like Marco Rubio, but you're saying you can't do anything unless you have the House, the Senate, and the presidency, and they're very frustrated. And they want some action, and they want some sense that there is a passion and a substantive plan by the Republicans that they're going to work morning, noon, and night to make the life of average Americans better, and they're not seeing it. That poll is devastating.
Yeah, and I think that's been a big problem for Republicans, beyond the fact that they've made these promises of all the things that we're going to do once we get control of the House and the Senate, but that their agenda, the agenda from 2010 election, the 2014 election, even the 2012 election, was all about what they weren't. We're not Obama. We're not going to do these things. We're going to roll these things back instead of being for something. So not only are people disappointed that they weren't able to stop as much or do as much, they don't necessarily have a governing agenda, which is making their job even tougher.
Well, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention and cover the fact that Donald Trump has decided to not come on Fox News. In a tweet today, right around noon, a little bit after noon, he said, Fox News has been treating me very unfairly, and I have therefore decided that I won't be doing any more Fox shows for the foreseeable future. Now, Fox put out a statement a little bit later, and I'll just read it. At 11:45 today, we canceled Donald Trump's scheduled appearance on the O'Reilly Factor on Thursday, which resulted in Mr. Trump's subsequent tweet about his boycott at Fox News. The press predictably jumped to cover his tweet, creating yet another distraction from any real issues that Mr. Trump might be questioned about. It goes on to talk about other things in this statement. Point being, this is quite something.
It is. I mean, look, this is what you expect from Donald Trump, right? I mean, it's just childish, the way that he's reacting, as if tough questions are somehow inappropriate for somebody running for president of the United States. I think it's crazy. But what's interesting to me is if you look at the poll results, he's still leading. He's still leading by a good bit. But he's not acting like somebody who's leading. He seems to be increasingly nervous that he's going to lose that lead or flailing. I mean, he's calling Carly Fiorina a disaster. He called Marco Rubio a spoiled brat. Tonight, just now, he was making fun of Rubio for sweating. He's now boycotting Fox. You know, I don't have high expectations for Donald Trump, but this seems to be another level of sort of.
Well, I will say, he got very upset that we didn't put on online polls, and I explained why we don't do that on Fox. However, our poll, which we do trust, he went up one, Laura. So he's still.
And you report that. And haven't we all been canceled from Fox shows? Let's just say. I mean, I've been canceled. I know you have. We all have. Right. I mean, it would be fun to have him in the center seat tonight. We could talk about it. But you are running for president of the United States. You're going to get tough questions. And I get people feel like they're being treated unfairly. I mean, this is life, and we're big people. I imagine there'll be another truce, and there'll be a call, and this will be put back together. But
we'll see.
Bret Hume always said something to me, and I always forget. Never shoot down at candidates who are lower than you. Don't criticize. Yeah. Just elevate yourself with specific policy ideas and be positive. I think people want a lot more positive campaign.
You said put policy ornaments on the tree.
Yeah, decorate the tree a little bit.